John 13:3 and John 16:28, yet again another two more false Trinitarian translations.
John 13:3, New Living Translation. Jesus knew that the Father had given him authority over everything, and that he had come from God and would return, or going back, to God. John 16:28, New International Version. I came from the Father and entered the world. Now I am leaving the world and going back, or return, to the Father.
In my last 3 videos of Ephesians 3:9 and Hebrews 1:1 and Hebrews 1:2, we saw how Trinitarians are deceiving millions with false Bible translations and false teachings, wrongly teaching God created the universe through his Son, therefore deceiving millions into believing Jesus pre-existed his birth in Bethlehem. We now come to yet again another 2 false Trinitarian translations, which is yet again deceiving millions into believing Jesus pre-existed as God or as an angel. This is because of the single false word saying return or returning or back. I counted not just one, but a staggering 11 false translations of John 13:3. Now let's see what is written in the false Trinitarian translations of John 16:28. And I counted 6 false translations of John 16:28. As we have seen, we see and read what we would expect to see and read in scriptures like John 13:3 and John 16:28, that say Jesus was returning or going back to God if Jesus was in the beginning alive with and existing with God. And if Jesus is returning or going back to God, as we see and read, we then have teachings in scriptures confirming with Jesus being the Word in John 1:1. However, as countless other false Trinitarian translations, again, when we examine the Greek text in John 13:3 and John 16:28, we see the words saying returning or going back to God are missing from the Greek translations. Let's see what we see in the Greek text of John 13:3 by looking at one of the world's oldest Bibles in the Codex Sinaiticus. So as we see the words in the false translations saying returning or going back are not there, but instead simply says Jesus is going to God. And we see this is the same case for John 16:28. Notice yet again, here in the Greek text, the word is missing, saying back or return. Breaking news. Top headlines. Big story you need to know. Latest update. News alert. If Jesus did pre-exist his flesh, then John would have simply said what the false translations are saying, that Jesus was returning or going back to God. The belief that Jesus pre-existed his flesh is yet again another terrible, great, enormous deception. So great that most of Christianity have been deceived, just as I was also fooled. Speak the truth. Raise your voice. Voice your opinion. Be bold. Take a stand. Don't be silent. Spread the word and be open. The Trinitarians have no choice but say that Jesus pre-existed his flesh, simply because Jesus could not be God if he did not pre-exist his flesh. And this is why Trinitarians are pulling the man Jesus as close as possible to John 1:1 as being the Word who was God. The truth is, there is not a single word anywhere in the whole Bible saying Jesus would be returning or going back to where he was before. And that alone is substantial proof Jesus did not pre-exist his flesh, and should convince us on its own also that Jesus is not God. I am Simon Brown. Seek and you will find, said Jesus. End of case.